another edition of the Rebel Run Sports Show on RebelRunSports.com. I'm John Moore, joined as always by Rob Giampapa.
How you doing, John?
I'm doing well, man. Crazy week in high school football. So,
hey, college wasn't the only one that had great games going on this week. Starting with Thursday night, you know, the Thursday night thing has become big lately. There's a lot of games on Thursday night.
Right. So you had the opportunity to go and watch Falls Church play Eastern from D.C. So not often we get the Virginia versus D.C. clash, but how'd that go?
It was, well, for one, it poured as soon as the game started. I mean, it was a downpour, so not great field conditions for everybody out there, but it was a tough game for Falls Church. I mean, they started off well. They started off real well. I mean, they had running back DeQuandre Marshall had 13 carries for 124 yards. He was going well. Middle linebacker Tyler Warren, we talked to him a couple of weeks ago, and he also plays some running back, and he's never scored a touchdown before. Got a chance in the first game, scored his first touchdown of his career. That guy he's fun to talk to because he's a lot like, you can tell by looking at him he's a middle linebacker. I'll say that.
Right.
But then they have Adrian Collins, he's a phenomenal athlete. Got a 50-yard catch for a touchdown early on. They really set the tone early, but it was tough stopping that Eastern offense. They had a quarterback, Jerome Johnson, who was pretty unstoppable throughout the whole game. I mean, this guy was 14 of 28 for 242 yards and 2 touchdowns, and had 14 carries for $169 and a touchdown. I mean, he did whatever he wanted to, got wherever he wanted to on the field throughout the game. It was.
So what's the atmosphere like in that stadium? You got D.C., you got Virginia. Is there?
Well, there wasn't many people from the D.C. side there, because of the drive, and I'm thinking because of the weather as well. But Falls Church, man, they had a terrific atmosphere, even through the rain. I mean, that place was soaked with those. They call it the jungle, the Jaguar jungle over there, and those fans packed that place, and they were loud, and they had good energy throughout the whole thing. It was a blackout, so everybody was in black. But they got a terrific atmosphere over there.
Very cool. Forest Park goes to Patriot 38-28. Talk about that game a little bit.
Yeah, well, shout out to John Becerra covering the game for us at Patriot. Man, back and forth pretty much the whole game. John told us they had a couple of injuries. Patriots got a couple of injuries throughout the game that really hurt them. It's tough when you lose your starting quarterback during a game. Yeah. And you know as well as I do, it's hard to bounce back from that when you lose your quarterback. But Forest Park, their quarterback, Keyshawn Copeland, had 3 touchdowns. That guy he handled it throughout the game. Jalen Wilhoit had a kickoff return for a touchdown and a touchdown catch. And then they had Gianni Terrell, who had an interception return for a touchdown and a receiving touchdown. Forest Park went on to win 38-28. Watch out for them. Watch out for them.
So let's run through some of the other scores and some of the other games around the northern region.
Absolutely. Well, Westfield started off with W&L on Thursday night, 45-0. It's Westfield. What else you gonna say?
Loaded again.
Yeah. Hayfield, they played Edison 67-0.
That's what I saw on the scoreboard. It took me back a little bit.
I'm sure. Mount Vernon on the roll again, 2-0. That 2 wins matches their season total from the past 2 years. So they only won 2 games in the past 2 years. They've won 2 already to start the season.
Got a new coach and a new culture going on down there that seems to be
paying
dividends early.
Yeah, Monty Fritz has them going. He's got a running back who is a load to stop. I mean, this guy, Darian Newton, again, 16 carries, 168 yards and a touchdown. It gives him 308 yards on the season already.
And we'll be talking about them later in the show in our previews for next week's game.
Absolutely. Woodson, another game on Thursday night. They won 17-7 over Chantilly. I got a chance to talk to JoJo Isley a couple of months ago, right before this, right as they started to open up training camp. Quarterback JoJo Isley. Love that kid, love his confidence. Yeah. He called that game early on. He called it a couple of months ago, and he was taking a lot of grief on Twitter and things. People were saying, "What are you talking about? We destroyed you last year."
Right.
Came out, won that game. JoJo's confident for a reason. We also had Battlefield over Garfield. That was 30-6. We got a chance. We'll talk to later. We got a chance to talk to one of their players.
Yep, Sean Green.
Yep, and Hilton. We talked about it last week. I told you Osborne was going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
49-7.
Oh man.
Hilton rolled them. Obviously.
They got some. They had a tough three overtime loss to Battlefield last week, but they got a lot of talent on that team. So
Absolutely.
Hilton's going to be.
Yeah, Ricky Slade had a couple of touchdowns. Yeah. Andy had an interception, I believe, as well. Watch out for Hilton too. They're coming fast. Did have a chance to go to Champ for go to Spring Mills for the Champ Spring Mills game. Right. It's a bit of a drive going out there to West Virginia, but I will tell you what, Spring Mills, they have probably the best stadium I've seen.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's amazing. They have a college scoreboard. I mean,
we're talking like Texas high school stadium.
It's pushing it. You know what I mean? It's pushing it. It is terrific. That place was packed. I've never been there before. Drove out there. It was quite a sight to see. But they Champ went on to win 35-12, I believe it was, and man.
It was good to see them bounce back after a tough.
It was. Their
season
defense
loss.
was terrific throughout that whole game. I mean, I must have counted 6 guys from Spring Mills they put out of the game. I mean, their defense was rolling. And Carl Garman III, this running back, we've talked about him before. You liked him a lot during basketball season. He is so tough to get down. He's tremendous to watch. And they also got Cameron Parsons, their quarterback, scored a late touchdown. He's fun to watch too.
Crazy. Well, the game of the week this week.
Yeah.
Man, West Springfield going into Robinson. This game had so many different elements and build-up factors. It was revenge time for Robinson, and I mean we talked about the 2 different styles of offense last week and who was going to be able to impose their will, and it was going to start at the line of scrimmage. And I mean, Robinson, God, Coach Vossler had them ready to go. They steamroll West Springfield 49-14, and the game wasn't even that close.
You know, I got a little bone to pick with Coach Vossler. I saw him on Wednesday, and he told me, he pulled a little okey doke on me. He said, yeah, one of our guys, Jaquez Stewart, he's going to be out for a while.
Right, yeah.
All of a sudden, I see you there at the game, and Jaquez Stewart going in the end zone for a touchdown. So, Coach Vossler, I got a bone to pick, man. You called me out on that.
He's either the fastest healer ever, or they got Mr. Miyagi on their sideline rubbing their hands together, putting them on these kids. But
well, you know what? I talked to him, and he told me. He said, yeah, Coach Vossler, he told me that he told you that. So, yeah. Thanks, Coach.
I mean, the game started off, it had all the atmosphere of a Robinson home opener. The crowd was electric out there. And, man, West Springfield comes out the gates. Daniel Dew, 50-yard touchdown reception, and it looked like it was going to be one of these close games, just like last year's. And then, give credit to West Springfield. They played with a lot of heart. They played without Peter Musket, who was hurt, high ankle sprain. He should be back this week. But got all the credit to Robinson. 39 carries, 350 yards, 6 touchdowns.
When we talked about it last week, we talked about it could be 40 runs versus 40 passes. Right. It was 31 passes, 40 runs, whatever it was. Yeah, it was real close there. So it played. The score didn't play out like we thought it would, but the balance on both teams played out pretty much like we thought it would.
This one was 42-14 at the half. So this was over pretty early. West Springfield has some tough injuries, but I don't know if the injuries would have made a difference. They were running the ball at will. So, student body left, student body right, traps. There was just nothing that. And then, God, they had a 3-headed monster. Reed Scarborough, he's going to be one of the athletes that we talk about all year long. He's a 160-pound wrestler for Robinson, and he's one of their most talented lacrosse players.
Oh, he's terrific on the lacrosse field. He had 12 carries for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. I did not see that coming. He underplayed his ability on the football field a little bit when we talked to him during lacrosse season.
You match him with Jaquez, who we talked about, who was injured, and then this kid, Roman Lowry. He could be the best of the 3, who knows? But they all run the ball, they run hard, and once they got past the first level, you notice how much breakaway speed they had. That was something that was eye-popping, that once they got past the first level, they were all, they were running sprints out there, so.
Well, you know what? I went out to Robinson earlier this week, had a chance to sit down and talk to quarterback Alex Miller. He had 7 carries, 42 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Yeah. Also, only threw a couple passes, completed all of them, and one went for a touchdown. But him and offensive tackle Nick Barnacki, This dude is going to Navy. I don't know how they let people as large as him into the Navy. He's a big boy, but he is tough, and he is tough, and he anchors that offensive line, and they roll when they get it going. But we had a chance to go out there and talk to them this week, so take a look. Robinson, we've got Nick Bernacchi, Alex Miller of the Robinson Rams football team. How you guys doing today?
Good, how are you?
Good. Well, guys, let's go back last season a little bit. You're about to start the next year, but let's go back a little bit. You had a tough loss in the regional semis to South County, right at the end there. How much did that motivate you guys going into this year?
It motivated us a lot because we knew what it felt like to get deep in the playoffs, and it kind of drove us, and we're still driven by that because we know that we want to be back there. So every day at practice, the coaches are harping on it every day. We always go out there and we're trying to get better so that we can reach that goal again.
Yeah, exactly what Bernie said. Just getting that far just gave us that extra motivation, us as juniors and the younger classmen, that we can get to places that we want to be at if we just come out and practice every day and work pretty hard.
Okay. Now, what was your focus in the offseason? What did you want to focus on both individually and as a team to get better for this year?
Individually, I wanted to focus on keeping my weight up and putting good weight on, with having a good diet and the off-season training and running. And as a team, we're focusing on being more conditioned, and all of our weight room attendance has been up. So we've been really working on it so that we can be more physical than we were last year, because we found out that that's what wins us games when it gets to crunch time.
Yeah, and exactly, again, what Nick said, that our whole thing was just getting more stronger and better conditioned, and so we can go deep into games. And in that fourth quarter, when things are tough and you're tired, that you can still be tough all 4 quarters, and then if you can be tough for those 4 quarters and still up and excited for it, then most likely you're going to win the game.
Well, Alex, your 3-year starter? You guys run the ball a lot. What's it like to play quarterback in the system at Robinson?
The system that we have here is, I would say that we stick to our game plan, and I mean, you see it. We run the ball 90+% of the time, and it's not like a thing where it's like, dang, I'm not getting the plays I guess I want. It's more of when it is my time and we're throwing the ball, it's more important, I would say. And it's just, I like it just because it's unique when we throw the ball.
Okay. How much do you like running the ball?
I love it.
That's what I thought. Now, Nick, you're going to the Naval Academy. Tell me a little bit about that recruiting process for one of the service academies.
Yeah, so it started, the coaches at Navy contacted me on Twitter, and it was kind of, it was like, hey, we like your film, keep doing what you're doing and we'll look out for you, or we'll watch you. And so I was like, all right. And then as time went on, I remember I went to a spring practice that Navy had, and that's when Coach N offered me. And I mean, that was an awesome time. And I mean, it didn't take shortly after I committed there.
All right. Well, you guys got a big game to start the season. I mean, a year from that last game was with West Springfield. How excited are you to get that one in the books, and how much have you thought about that game since then?
Okay, yeah, I'll start this one. Actually, in the preseason, we have a senior meeting, and one of the first couple of things we said was we want to beat the people that we lost to last year, and we get the opportunity, first game of the season, to play an opponent that beat us. So we're all excited and we're ready to take on the challenge.
Yeah, we've been waiting since last year when we played them the first time. I mean, we kind of wanted to play them again so that we could just get that bad taste out of our mouth. So, I mean, we're really excited for Friday so that we can, just play hard and put it all on the line.
Now, they play a totally different style than you guys, so how is your preparation to get ready for a team like that?
Because they play the spread offense, and I know on defense we're working more 7-on-7 kind of things like they run. And Coach Maffey, our new defensive backs coach, has really been working us pretty hard, just being able to guard them and knowing that they do have some weapons out there at the wide receiver position and they have a great quarterback. And so we're really focusing on their passing game, just being able to defend it.
Well, what are you looking for from your team coming Friday night?
I'm expecting us to come out with a lot of energy just because obviously they beat us last year. And it's our first game of the season and we're at home. We get to represent Robinson. And so I'm just excited to be out here, and I think the whole team is just going to be ready to play hard.
Yeah, I think we're all ready to give everything we have between the whistles and try and get a victory in that game. So we're all excited for that.
What are your expectations for this season?
In that senior meeting Alex was talking about, we set goals, and our goals, like the first one, was to beat the teams that beat us last year. And another goal that Coach Vossler always has us do is at the last regular season game, we want to play for a championship. So by week 10, when we play Centerville, we want to be able to have the opportunity to win a championship in that game. In the playoffs, our other goal in the playoffs was to usually go deep in the playoffs. So we don't just want to get there and be a one and done, we want to advance.
It's a great interview, Rob. Those guys seem like they have great heads on their shoulders, and obviously the talent level coming out of Robinson is as high as it's ever been. So,
Absolutely.
but we do want to give a shout out West Springfield wide receiver Daniel Dew.
Yeah, 8 catches, $132, 2 touchdowns. And also, they had a backup quarterback like you talked about earlier, all-state quarterback Peter Musket wasn't playing.
Right.
They had a guy step in, Jake Herzog. He was 19 of 31, 244 yards and 2 touchdowns. Had 2 interceptions, but the guy hasn't played quarterback in a couple years. There's going to be some ups and downs, but I thought he filled in there pretty well.
Well, Dew's got some catches. You'll see in our highlights that are, he's highlight reel type of player. So, all right, let's run through a couple other scores.
Yeah, Loudoun Valley, they beat Rock Ridge 49-34. Tyler Hunt was great last week. I think he had 2 touchdowns over 130 yards last week. Comes back this week with 5 rushing touchdowns, 26 yards, 52 yards, 32 yards, 18 yards, and 1 yard. Guy's rolling right now through the season. They also had junior Jake Herbin, 85-yard kickoff return. Tremendous. There was a couple other games on the schedule, though. That South County Briarwoods game we talked about, it was going to be the most intriguing game of the week. South County ended up coming out and winning that game 27-23. It was close. They had their backup quarterback playing. Ben Maffey for Briarwoods, 30-yard touchdown catch in there. We talked about him. He did it.
And they're going to be a team that we keep an eye on this year because they're a lot improved from last year.
Absolutely. South County, West Springfield wasn't the only team having somebody fill in at quarterback.
Right.
South County's quarterback, Jack McDaniels, came out. This guy was filling in for Mike Salisbury. Jack McDaniels came out 17 of 28, 311 yards. Also had 17 carries for 89 yards. That guy was rolling. They also had Jaquan Finley, 8 carries, 57 yards, 2 touchdowns. Can't talk about South County without talking about Dylan Spalding.
That's right.
He comes out 4 catches for 105 yards and a touchdown. And Solomon Sameh, 5 catches, 77 yards and a touchdown. So South County, you've seen them play before.
Right.
They get that offense rolling quick. They get it rolling in a hurry. So they watch out for them. Obviously, all year they're going to be tough
exactly.
to beat.
What about Battlefield this week?
Battlefield won 30-6.
Okay.
Won over Garfield.
Yep.
We talked about that game a little bit last week, the preview for that game. It's going to be tough for Garfield going into Battlefield. So
Battlefield starts off with Hilton, 3 overtime win. If you look at their schedule, that Hilton game may play out to, not to underestimate anybody, but that may play out to be one of the toughest games that they had on that schedule. So we had a chance actually to sit down with senior running back Sean Green and have a conversation with him after 2 games this season, 2-0 start. Let's check it out. We're pleased to be joined by Battlefield senior running back Sean Green. Sean, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Talk to us a little bit about the season. You guys are off to a 2-0 start. A lot of excitement around school.
Yeah, well, we have every game we play or every week, we have a chip on our shoulders. Every team from the beginning, ever since we lost Zach Kirkston and Alex Gutierrez and Lane Bryson, everybody around the community thought that, hey, we're going to suck without those impact players.
Right.
But every week during practice, we step it up every day, and put work.
Good.
Well, now you've been through. You're a senior, so this is your second year with Coach Van Acker.
Yeah.
So how was that transition for you as a player?
It's really helped me out throughout the years because I really didn't know what I was really doing my freshman and sophomore year, and Coach Van Acker really taught me up well throughout the years.
Good. So you guys go 9-3 your first season under him. The expectations are through the roof at Battlefield. Everyone we talk to in the community is really excited about this year's team. Is there added pressure there for you?
Not really. I mean, last year the 3 games we lost by 3, and that was really heartbreaking. And after the Lake Braddock loss, we saw every senior in there just bawling, and we went to every single one, and we promised next year we're gonna finish out strong for y'all. So every game we just play for them.
Well, you came off a big win this past week, 30-6. We talked a little bit before we started shooting here that you had a good game. Would have been a lot better if not for some holding penalties. But you got Woodbridge coming up.
Yeah.
How much have you seen of Woodbridge?
I haven't really looked at the film yet, but I'm gonna start watching it tonight and tomorrow morning, for sure.
All right, Sean, let's talk about the Den. You guys' fans are crazy over there. Did they get you guys hyped up during the game?
They do, especially when they chant "I believe." That really gets us. That really gets us pumped up. We love that. We love the atmosphere. So.
Well, tell us a little bit about your style. What kind of style do you have as a running back? Who do you kind of look at and emulate a little bit?
Back when I was growing up, I used to watch Walter Payton's highlights. How he used to just run over people with ease and just score. So I mean. Someday, I want to be just like him, but I will never be like him.
Well, Sean, thanks for coming on. We hope you come back later on in the season. We'll interview you again, and good luck this week against Woodbridge and the rest of the season.
All right, thank you.
Well, Rob, that was a crazy week of high school football. Only in week 2. Week 3. Let's go preview some of these games.
Man, well, week 3, it's going to be a good matchup here. I think I'm really curious to see about this one. Falls Church, we talked about they had a tough loss to Eastern.
Right.
One thing I will tell you, Eastern tried to give that game away at the end. They were up by 2. They were up by a touchdown. 2 minutes left. They throw 3 straight passes, give Falls Church the ball back. It was crazy. But Falls Church is coming back. They got to go to Potomac Falls. We know Potomac Falls, that's a tough place to play with that student section there.
Absolutely.
They're terrific. But it's going to be a really good matchup. Adrian Collins from Falls Church, look for him to get going early in that game. But also Potomac Falls, Cash Jackson.
Great name.
Yeah, he's got 31 carries, 175 yards on the season already. He's going to be a tough one to stop for Falls Church. Then we got Hayfield, Tuscarora. Hayfield coming off a huge win over Edison. That's 67-0 win. And Tuscarora, they got back on track a little bit. They played Loudoun County.
Yeah, they had a tough open season loss.
Absolutely. They played Loudoun County and won 55-21 this week. So that's going to be an interesting match to watch. Hayfield, they've got athletes all over the place out there, and they're skill position guys. I've seen them play in the 7-on-7 and stuff like that.
Right.
It's going to be a tough matchup for Tuscarora. And then Mount Vernon, West Springfield. We talked to Coach Eldridge on the Spartan Spotlight about that game. That's going to be an interesting one to watch too.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how West Springfield bounces back. I think if they take the approach that it's the start of their season now, their starting quarterback's playing for the first time this year. They're in front of their home crowd, division game. So we hope West Springfield bounces back.
Yeah, we do, and we talked about it earlier. Coach Monty Fritz has got Mount Vernon going in the right direction. That guy, man, Darian Newton's got 30 carries for 308 yards on the season, 3 touchdowns already. But also their quarterback, Tim Heltzel, He's been 24 of 44 for 338 yards and 4 touchdowns this year. He also's got he's really got them going in a way that was a dimension they didn't have last year.
Absolutely.
They didn't have that passing game going last year. Obviously, we saw Josh McGrigg a couple of times. They just didn't have that other option to go with him at quarterback last year. So Tim Heltz's really anchored that team this year as well. Another big game on the schedule, Robinson at Woodson. Man, it's going to be tough to stop Robinson.
Yeah. Now, at the game on Friday night, towards the end, their PA announcer, at least 3 different times, made it a point to tell that Robinson crowd to all invade WT Woodson next week. So I think the atmosphere there is going to be electric for that
It
game.
will, and the cavalry at Woodson, they'll be ready to go.
Absolutely.
They pack that place and they get going crazy. So
Right.
we'll see. That should be fun to watch. But Robinson this week, I mean, we talked about them a lot earlier, but they had 349 yards and 6 touchdowns on the ground this
Yeah.
week. I mean, that's
And most of that was in the first half.
It's just tough to stop.
Right.
Another interesting one that we're going to see this week is going to be South Lakes at Briarwoods.
Okay.
Briarwoods coming off that tough loss to South County, but man, South Lakes, watch out for them too. They're sneaky good. Devin Miles this week was 14. Their South Lakes quarterback was 14 of 21, 168 yards, 2 touchdowns, and they have a running back, Albert Mensa, who had 11 carries for 108 yards and 4 touchdowns. So,
Right.
watch
Well, there's
out for
always
South
been
Lakes.
a wealth of talent coming out of that Reston area. So.
Absolutely. That's going to be an interesting one to watch. Excellent. Well, John, this week, probably the biggest game we're going to see all year.
Right.
Game of the week is going to be Westfield at South County. That game is going to be out of control.
Championship high. Back on the field, coming off another state championship. Westfield's looks like they're loaded all over again. South County, I mean, this it's got revenge written all over it, you know, so.
It's at South County.
At South County.
You know that stallion's going to be running up and down that field. That atmosphere is going to be out of control. That place is going to be packed, and it's going to be a great game to watch. Salisbury will be back. Obviously, the season ended for South County last year on their field against Westfield. They've got revenge on their mind. They thought they had a state championship ready to go.
Right.
So that's going to be a tremendous game to watch.
I mean, for Westfield, it's almost business as usual as these seasons go on. They expect to win. They're a confident group. So this is going to be a fun game to watch.
And I'm going to tell you right now, Westfield has the best high school kicker that you will see in the area. Brian Delaney is unbelievable.
Right.
That guy can kick from just about anywhere on the field. But that game is that game is going to be tremendous.
Yeah.
And we'll pick that game in a few minutes here, but let's talk about a few of our top performers this week. We had running back Lamont Atkins from Lake Braddock, 4 touchdowns, a 70-yard touchdown run in there, had a touchdown reception in there. He was unbelievable all over the field. We talked a little bit about Tyler Hunt earlier from Loudoun Valley, 5 rushing touchdowns this week. We also talked about Darian Newton, Mount Vernon, 16 carries, 168 yards and a touchdown. He also had 6 grabs for 43 yards in the game. South County's quarterback, Jack McDaniels, 17 of 28, 311 yards, 2 touchdowns, 17 carries for 89 yards. When you come out the gate with 400 yards in a game, we got to be able to highlight you a little bit. And from Madison High School, Nick Conforti, 8 catches, 160 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He got rolling in that win over Oakland that they had this week. But the top performers of the week got to be that Robinson offensive line. And
Easy. The offensive line of Robinson, I mean, again, 39, 40 carries. They only had to throw the ball 3 times. It wasn't like that may have been the game plan. In a perfect situation, we run the ball and don't have to throw. Well, the perfect situation was their offensive line. So taking nothing away from their 3 talented backs, but there were some gaping holes there that, you know, I could have ran through. I don't know if I would have broke away, but I could have run through the holes.
Right. Well, 5 games this week. We're going to pick 5 games, our 5 for 5 picks this week. Let's start off Lake Braddock versus Annandale.
Okay, so I didn't pick Annandale the first week, and then they stomped McLean. Then this week, I don't know what they ran into at Centerville High School, but, I mean, 49-0. There's no way I could take Annandale over Lake Braddock. So Lake Braddock is the call.
Man, I hate to agree with you, but I've got to. After seeing what they did, that 63-18 win over Lee, man, Lake Braddock is tough.
Yeah.
Next game we got Mount Vernon, West Springfield.
That's a tough call also. But I think West Springfield, I think they'll go into this game with the real belief that their season starts now. And, Musket to do. I think they'll bounce back nicely, and I think West Springfield will win this game.
Man, we got to stop having games that we agree on. But you know what? Just to do it, sorry, Coach Eldridge, I'm going to take Mount Vernon just to be opposite from it. So, Darian Newton, I'm going to get hammered next time I go to West Springfield. I'm sure I'm going to get hammered by those guys. I think I want to see this guy Darian Newton play.
Yeah.
Next, we got Woodbridge Battlefield. That's going to be a really good game, I think. Man, it's tough to call.
Yeah.
I'll take Woodbridge.
Okay. Well, I'll take Battlefield.
All right. South Lakes Briarwoods.
I'm going to go with South Lakes. I'm going to go with all of our Channel 28 viewers out in Reston. And I'm going to go with South Lakes in this game.
All right. I'll take Briarwoods.
Briarwoods.
Yep. Westfield, South County.
Man, it's so hard to pick against Westfields in any sport.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do it. I'm taking
man.
South County this week. I think in their stadium with that home field advantage, I think that is the deciding factor. I think South County wins a close game.
All right, well, I'm taking the Bulldogs. I'm taking Westfield. I think we've seen their offensive line before. Those guys are enormous. I'll go with Westfield. I'll go with them again. Sorry to the South County Stallions fans, but I'll take Westfield. More because I want to disagree with you than I want to go against South County.
Absolutely. Well, this was the game last year. This was the regular season game that Westfield did lose. Now, they had a couple players out for reasons we don't need to go into, but I think both teams have an element of revenge on their mind, so the game should be exciting.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for joining us this evening. Another week of the Rebel Run Sports Show. Again, you can see us on RebelRunSports.com, on Comcast Channel 2 in Prince William County, Channel 28 in Reston. I am John Moore, Rob Giampapa. We will leave you with our Rebel Run Sports Play of the Week, and see you next week.
This week's Play of the Week comes to us from Lake Braddock High School, where the Lee Lancers took on the Lake Braddock Bruins. In this game, Lee Lancers wide receiver Kevin Hamilton goes up over two Lake Braddock defenders, comes down and stretches out over the goal line for a touchdown. If you have a Play of the Week, send it to us at highlights@rebelrunsports.com. Thank you, and we'll see you next week.